What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'm joined with Robin, and today we are talking about a possible bigger collapse than FTX. Genesis Trading did halt withdrawals, huge ties across the entire cryptocurrency industry. What is their downfall? What would that mean for the crypto industry? We're going to talk about that. Let's not waste any time and get right into it. So we're going to start here with a Twitter thread from Jason Yanowitz, who is the founder of Blockworks. Starts off by saying, if this is really the end for Genesis, this could be more impactful than FTX. FTX hurt liquid funds and consumers. Genesis impacts nearly every company in crypto. Let's dig in. For those who are not familiar, Genesis started as the first over-the-counter Bitcoin desk in 2013, and they are now the largest lending desk in the space. Genesis is part of DCG, aka Digital Currency Group, which is a holding company that owns CoinDesk, Foundry, Genesis, Grayscale, and Luno. They also run a huge VC firm. At the height of the market, Genesis was moving massive size. These are the following numbers from Q4 of last year. Close to $50 billion or $50 billion in loan originations, over $12 billion in active loans, and $30 billion in spot volume traded. Then 3AC happened, a $2.4 billion downfall, to which Genesis filed a $1.2 billion claim against Three Arrows Capital, to which then DCG, their parent company, stepped in and assumed the $1.2 billion claim, leaving Genesis books cleared of any exposure to Three Arrows Capital. But then things continue to unravel. Genesis had large exposure to Babel Finance, which is now under. In August, the longtime CEO of Genesis resigned. Nearly everyone I know, according to Jason Yanowitz, who was at Genesis, is no longer there. Now, let's take a look at their numbers from Q3 of this year, considerably down. Only $8.4 billion in loan originations compared to $50 billion. And just $2.8 billion in active loans compared to over $12 billion in Q4 of last year. So why is the downfall of Genesis so bad? Dozens of companies like Gemini use Genesis to help their consumers earn yield. If you're a CeFi platform that offers yield, you probably use Genesis. So we know what happened with Gemini. They halted their earned withdrawals. So here's how it works. You give your crypto to Gemini. Gemini gives your crypto to Genesis. Genesis lends your crypto to a fund. The fund borrows from Genesis. Interest is made. Interest is paid back to Genesis, to Gemini, which Gemini pays back to you. And there you go. That's how yield is made. But it only works if the counterparties that Genesis lent their money to can actually repay. If Genesis can't get the crypto back, they can't give you your crypto back. And so that is where the fault lies. Beyond that, nearly every whale that plays in the crypto game gives money to Genesis. Instead of earning yield on BlockFi's and Gemini's, they give it directly to the third party, which in this case is Genesis. And why this is so important that halting withdrawals from Genesis is bad. They sit at the direct center of crypto capital markets. They custody funds. They help institutions earn yield. They are the yield product for CeFi platform. Where do we go from here? Hopefully, DCG has the funds to backstop this, which I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to tell you, DCG has bailed out Genesis before, but Genesis had $175 million exposure to FTX, to which DCG came in and only gave them $140 million. Now ask yourself this question, right? Common sense. If they're in the hole for $175 million, why would they only get $140 million infusion of capital from their parent company, DCG? DCG, although they have tons of assets on their balance sheet, they're not very liquid. DCG has bought close to $1 billion in their sister company, GBTC, right? Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, at a steep discount. And those assets are not very liquid. And so for them to come up with $200-300 million just off the cuff, they are not able to do that. And so money being raised through traditional means in the space is not very attainable right now because of what's going on, because the contagion continues to spread. And so no one is going to want to take a risk and bail these companies out with everything going on now, with how deep this FTX debacle goes. And until the dust settles, you know, chances are these large VC firms and hedge funds in our space are not going to lend money to companies that are in trouble. And so, which, you know, there was breaking news. This is from Watcher Guru. Crypto lenders Genesis seeks $1 billion emergency loan by Monday. So if Genesis goes under, guys, it's further reaching than FTX, further reaching. You thought the situation with Gemini is bad. I mean, we're talking cascading events. Robin, what are your thoughts?
Oh boy. Yeah, they're the lender of all lenders. They're the market maker. They're the go-to integral part of crypto. And so if they go under, which it seems as though the writing is on the wall, this is the catalyst to the cascading liquidations, the contagion, the failure of businesses, the defaults of loans going from one company to another. This is big, man. This is really big. I think you kind of nailed everything there, though. So,
all right. So what does this mean for Digital Currency Group, right? Because we know, again, does this mean Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is in trouble? We know they are the largest holder of Bitcoin, period. Over 600,000 Bitcoin. Now, that is custody. Part of that's custodied by Coinbase. So it's not like if DCG goes under, Grayscale goes under, right? There's a reason they're formed as separate entities. But DCG is a massive player in the space. And if they can't help out and bail out their sister company in Genesis Trading, what does that mean for DCG? Does that mean they're going insolvent? Does that mean they're going under? What are your thoughts there, Robin?
DCG is fine. They're a huge company. They might be running out of liquidity, but you know, in the down market, there's only so much money you can throw around in the market. And, you know, these companies that are in their umbrella, you know, they've already injected tons of capital into Genesis already. This isn't the first round. And so at some point, you can't let the entire business model collapse. You know, you have other companies that are under the DCG umbrella, like the likes of Grayscale, for example, who is the largest holder of all Bitcoin. And so at some point, you got to cut your losses. And if they are in need of $1 billion, they're not going to be able to raise that capital. Who's going to throw out $1 billion at this point? I mean, you can say Binance, but I mean, do they have $1 billion to inject into a possibly a failing business model? And I mean, how far is this contagion reaching? Is $1 billion even enough? If they say need $1 billion, maybe there's all kinds of uncollateralized loans there that are going to get liquidated or defaulted on. It's just extremely worrisome. DCG will be fine, but Genesis won't. And the crypto space might take a step back in the long term if this were to happen, if they were to go under, which it seems like the likelihood is ever fast approaching. So,
and you know, with everything going on, you know, we're always going to err on the side of caution, right? And so if you have money on any earn program, get it out. If definitely not recommended, not financial advice, but this is just coming from, you know, what we've seen. Definitely wouldn't lock anything up. And if you have any money in any earn programs, we would highly recommend you get that out until the dust settles. Right now, preservation of capital over gains all day long. The last thing I want to show is I'm going to go over DCG's funding rounds and what tokens they hold on their balance sheet, just in case they do need to liquidate some of these, assuming they are liquid, assuming they are not locked up. They're considered a tier 2 venture capital firm. This is all the tokens they hold on their sheet, right? This is everything in their portfolio: XRP, Filecoin, Flow, Lido, Mana, Graph, Mask, of course, FTT token, which is now worth nothing. Horizon, VGX, which is now worth nothing. And so this is a list of all the tokens that they've either invested in, have on their balance sheet, and a chance that these might have to be liquidated. And so use that information, take it with it as you please. And that's kind of where it ends, guys. There's a few more here, but concerning to say the least. This is, of course, still a developing story, and we will continue to keep you in the know. So make sure you follow Sensei to Crypto. That'll do it for the video today. On behalf of myself and Robin, thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.